Alright, we are up and running. So, we are going to do a Cyber Commander's playtest today. The tutorial. Let's see how this goes. So, you are commander. Mission: eliminate the enemy commanders and protect your own, deploy units, and outmaneuver your opponents. You start with a 1 AI opponent. More will join as you improve. Each round, you'll select actions like deploy units next to your commander, then move and attack. Your actions are limited. You can only use one per turn, and each only once in a game. So, your actions are limited. You can only use one per turn, and each only once in a game. So, that mean of what? There's 6, 8 here. I can only deploy them once. I can't have multiples then. Alright. Got it. So select my action. Beam down or hollow. You select a unit. Now choose. Deploy it for real, can fail, or send a hologram decoy. Always successful. Better units have lower beam down chance. Holograms have the same stats but can be detected with holo scanner. Use them to bluff. So can I attack with a hologram unit, or are they just a straight bluff? Alright. So the holo scanner detection technology, exposing and destroying any enemy holographic units. Guess that has to be. I guess I would want to know more on what holographic units can do. The larva brood, weak alien spawn, deployed for significant world influence manipulation. And it's a melee unit. A little running is probably its moves. 2 attack, 3 defense. What is the last one? A surveyor, fragile aerial mechanoid scout. Expendable but useful for reconnaissance. Moves 4, attacks for 1, defends for 1. What is a little shield and cog mean? Skeledrone, frail mechanoid scout, deploy to shift world influence towards mecha forces. So, Larva Hunter, Nimble Alien, mount with moderate defense for tactical commander use. So it's a mount for commander use, so I can put my commander on this then. Moves for 3, attacks for 1, and a defense of 3. Beamer. Elite mechanoid sniper, delivering devastating long-range laser strikes. Alright, we got some new things this time with ranged. This one says 5. This one says 4. Alright. That's what, so what, this one's also ranged. Let's look at this. This one has a 2-2. And melee as well. So, Mechanoid is slow, tremendous strength and armor, but slow movement. I read that wrong. Mechanoid with tremendous strength and armor, but slow movement. Hovercraft. Swift aerial mount gliding above obstacles with commander aboard. That's flying. So if it's flying, does that mean it can't be hit by melee then? But if it enters melee... Alright, it can move 5 with attack of 2 and a defense of 5. Oh, okay. So if it has these gears in the bottom, it's a mechanoid. But if it has the little alien face, then that says it's an aliens. Okay. So what is range? Sorry, click on this. Let's see. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So if I attack at range, it has the little target with the arrow, and then just the target is its maximum attack distance. The shield with the little cog is the resistance. So mental defense against some effects. Okay. So actions / units categories, where we got unit properties. Alright. So if it has like the DNA symbol, it's classified as a unit, commander, spreader, defense, upgrade, strike, boost, psyops, or special. Alright, so that at least gives me some knowledge of what the card is trying to tell me. Properties, melee, ranged. Okay, hold on. So with the ranged, okay, up here and down here. Oh, so they're just grouping them together for the properties list. So that's something that I would like to see a little bit different. Like, I understand you got this in the 2 categories to make it nice, but with these 2 that I can currently see, technically in separate, I would say it's indexed separately on your cards. I would like to see that switched out. So of course, it's like it was saying, if you're like, I have a ranged, a melee, that means, oh, down here, yeah, so that means mount. So having them in this screen here, so mechanoid slime, so yeah, like slime would be included in this. Like, I currently see on the cards that what is a mech, what is an alien, here's a slime I haven't come into, or I haven't seen yet, but telling me like what type of card this is compared to like what this card can do, or it's like it's showing it here. Click off that. Just like it's showing it up here. Like, this is an alien, you know, these are mechs. Of course, I haven't ran into the slime yet, which would probably be shown down here. Like, hey, that's a slime unit. Same thing as like the holo scanner. Just differentiating between... Like, I understand that it's like the unit properties, why you have it all in one, but to kind of divide this out a little bit further is just how I would think of FAQ page that is helping players be able to see certain things, or excuse me, you're telling players what certain things mean on your card here, but how you have it currently sectioned out as, I would think all of these would be like down on the side here, whereas it's actually a different section of your card. But let's move on. So let's go. What do I want? So 100%, 90, surveyor, 90. So a movement of 1, a movement of 4. That's a 1/1. That's actually something I would also like to see added. So when you click on it here, it tells us, we can obviously see that it has 4 movement up in the lower right hand corner. Now it's telling us it's a melee, but if I want to instantly see like, hey, what is this token gonna bring to the board, like just when I'm looking at it here. But obviously you only have 9 here, so it's not that big of a deal. But if when you have more units here, to be able to quickly see like, oh, I can get this unit and it will have 4 movement, that's a melee, but I want to know like, hey, what is this melee's attack, what is its defense? Maybe having like a section up in the left here, be able to instantly tell me that like, I'll do X amount of damage and I can take X amount before getting destroyed, to instantly be able to see that on this card instead of having to click into it and then seeing here. That may be a nice improvement. So 2, 3, 1, 1. So we'll go with this guy. So we can bluff with a hologram, and so is a hologram always? Yeah. So I can always put down a hologram, but not always be able to beam it down. So we'll beam this down. Failed. That had a 90% chance. Right. So enemy... Oh, so that was the enemy deployment that failed. Okay. So your opponent's beam down didn't make it through. The same odds apply to them. Sometimes the enemy gets unlucky too. Alright, yep, that makes sense. We'll put it down there. Alright. Unit deployed. Units deploy next to your commander. Position them carefully. You'll move and fight from wherever they land. There are other types of actions that you'll unlock later. Alright. Simple enough. The actions can shift the world influence. It is displayed in the top left corner. I'm guessing it's meaning this. The actions can shift the world influence. It is displayed in the top corner above the board. Higher world influence makes further deployment of the same faction, alien, or mech more likely. It only ever helps, never hurts. Alright, so if I'm heavily playing a mech game, but the alien influence is starting to swing, I might want to put down aliens then. And I assume because this is an alien, but I put down the alien. So that gave +2 influence. I'd have to replay through this and look at that beforehand now that I know that. So stack it with boost to swing influence your way and beam down to even riskier units. Alright, so the higher the influence, the units with less of a chance to beam down should get buffed of having higher chances. Alright, so that makes sense. So now it wants me to move. What is this little log? All right. So pretty much this just tells us what we read. Okay. So my little larva guy here. I like this little animation. That's just a nice idle animation to have while sitting on the board, instead of just being a static image. So my larva. How much movement did this guy have? And what is the green arrow? We'll just go by moving them closer. Okay. So on the move, each unit has a speed stat that determines how far it can move per turn. Orthogonal steps cost 1 point, diagonal steps cost 1.5. Okay. That's good to know. Moving over 1. Alright, let's look. Okay, I can't look at him again because we can only deploy one of each. So let's go. Let's do the surveyor. So he has a 1/1 that can move 4. So we'll beam down. Alright, your opponent deployed a unit. Watch where they place their forces. It reveals their strategy. Yep. So let's put him there. Oh, you can fly. If this unit flies, it ignores obstacles and jumps anywhere within its speed in a single move instead of stepping cell by cell. Use it to cross terrain and reach spots ground units can't. So is there... So I wonder if there's going to be a board obstacles later on that would come into play more heavily. He moved his commander down, but his larva unit up. Alright, so this guy had 4. So yeah, bottom left icon shows the unit movement. Alright, so that actually brings up an interesting question. This is the larval brood. That should be what I have on the field. Alright, so is that a bug then? So I've moved my larva guy diagonal, in which the pop-up said diagonal units move at a cost of 1.5 in actions. So if the unit has 1 movement point, shouldn't this diagonal not be able, or shouldn't this unit not be able to move diagonal? Because that's more than what his movement like allows. So moving horizontal or vertical should be 1 movement point, while diagonal should be 1.5. So technically, I shouldn't be able to move him diagonally. And like same thing for this guy. So technically, if I would move him diagonal, that would be 4.5 units of movement, where he only has 4. So I I don't know if that's just been looked over then. So technically, I would expect to be able to move diagonally twice, giving me a movement cost of 3, and then being able to move vertically or horizontally to use that last movement point. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure if this is a bug or if it's intended. Okay, we've got an 85% chance. So let's get down this guy. So they deployed a stinger, which gave me, so it's a +5. I failed. That had, what, an 80% chance to go through, and it failed? So if it fails, it automatically... Oh. That's something that I don't like. So if I fail to beam down a unit, it completely gets rid of it. So I'm not sure for balance then. But so it's a gamble of... Oh. So it's not a... Okay. So the scanner confirms the unit is real, no kill this time, but now you know it's a true threat and not a decoy. Alright, got it. So that's a ranged unit. I'll move him up, him over. Oh, so I can, but I can keep deploying the scanner. So he failed. He's a mount and melee. So hold on, what is... He's a 1-3. So the other thing that I don't like is I'm going back here, clicking on this unit, and I'm trying to figure out what is its attack and defense. So, like, if I was this guy and I placed down a bunch of units and I'm not sure, like, hey, what is this guy's stats again? Like, I'd want to be able to click on this like we can here and see, like, hey, he is a 1-1 and so forth, be able to see that, because like right now I forget like what are the attack powers and defense of my current guys. Like, same thing for my commander here. Like, what is his attack power? Is it in here? Movement in combat. So being able to see like what is this guy's attack and defense somewhere in this card here would be a nice addition. Embark. So commander embarked. Your commander can mount certain units for faster travel and protection. Commander moves inside the unit, invisible to opponents. So until the commander is killed, or you can make the commander unmount. Alright, so my mount was destroyed. Your commander's mount was destroyed, ejecting it onto the board. So now it's exposed. Get it to safety or onto another mount quickly. Alright, so that's another useful thing for if your commander's getting pressured then. So it doesn't destroy them both. It just destroys the mount, and then they gotta go again for the commander. So engaged. When units move adjacent to enemies, they become engaged in melee combat. Engaged units lose their remaining movement. Alright. So got a 25% chance. So the attack missed, the target survives. The attacks are pro-ballistic. And this roll didn't land. Higher strength versus lower target's defense. Improve your odds. So pick favorable fight. Attacking zeros the unit's movement. So position before you commit. Range units hit from a distance. Melee. So that's simple. So another thing that I would like to see is being able to click on units here, just like ours, whereas when we're able to move them. So let's get this one. Alright, he's attacking my larva. He's gonna kill it. So he can attack in ranged and then attack in melee. Alright. So like I was saying, I can click on my unit here and it tells me like, hey, this gives me some information on what it is. I'd also like to be able to click on the other units to be able to look at them and see like, hey, this is what this unit can do, regardless of if it was beamed down or if it's just a hologram, to give me a little bit extra knowledge to let me plan like what I would be able to do in this situation. Let's just attack him. Didn't work. That's a beam down unit. There's no way that actually got down. Let's just attack this guy again, see if we can hit him. I have a strength of 5. And he has a defense of 6. All right. One of these are gonna bend. Yep, there it went. It hit. Yep, so that's the end of this tutorial. Defeat. Commanders learn from defeat. Every loss reveals new strategies. Try again. Alright, so I got 50 credit. So we'll skip it for now. Go on to the next one. A lot of more actions unlocked now. You now have access to new types of actions, upgrades, improve your commander stats, strikes, directly target enemy units, and spreaders. Spreads randomly, and a third opponent has joined the battle. Alright, so now we're doing a 1-on-2. The particle blast. Particle beam weapon. Obliterate enemy units within short to medium range. So, kinetic strike, annihilate enemy targets within medium range. So, I gotta assume that everything would be hit. So I want to keep my commander back in this case. So now we're in a neutral state. No. So in this case here, I would kind of like a sorter. So where I could be like, hey, I want like maybe up like up here to where I could be like, hey, I want units first. So it would be my scanner, surveyor, beamer, just these guys, and it would group those first, and then then the abilities would be after it, and so on and so forth. So the other question is, do the enemies have the exact same thing? Let's look at it. So it's going to be the AI first. What? Beam down a surveyor. Now, of course, they're going aliens, which means my surveyor's probably not going to get out. It did get out. So it starts at neutral, and then depending on what gets put out, it goes up or down. So is that guy a biomorph? I want to try and keep going with Max. He scanned my unit. And it failed. He failed. He got down that. Ooh, my tank did get out. Nice. So I have a ranged attack on this guy. The attack failed. Move him up. Move him over. Ah. So that's the spreader or whatever. So some units like fire and alien ooze spread automatically across the board. They can block environments and damage units in their path. Yep. So I have a 90% chance to get this guy down. He's a 2/5. So energy saver, plasma shield. So that didn't up my chances. Okay, well, end there. So I have a 90% chance to get this fire down. Alright, so when a commander dies, his units die. So I attack, fails. Alright, there. So I beat him. Alright, so destroying the real unit leaves a corpse on the ground, and corpses aren't gone for good. Resurrect actions can revive any corpse, even enemies, to fight for whoever brings it back. Holograms, by contrast, vanish without a trace. Alright. I eliminated the commander for the round. Alright. So for full arsenal, I got everything. Boost psyops special actions are now available, and now you face 3 opponents. You have access to every action category. Use them all to outsmart your enemies. Alright, got it. So, let's look. There's my resurrection guy. That gives me a 3/3 for my commander. So I'm assuming the resurrect action is gonna be just like the scan. I'm able to use it indefinitely. So I want to look at a unit. So there's aliens. So I want to try to get my surveyor out first. Mentalist. Alright, so this is going to fail. Alright. %. So my big morph's 100%. I might as well put him down. Got the hovercraft down. Alright, 50-50 landed. Ah, so that was a hologram. So now we're going to be going into a commander fight. Let's deploy that. So he hit my guy with a particle blaster. That failed. Alright, let's try the resurrection. Where? Here it is. So he sniped it. Boost is activated. Defensive 3. All right. So we're still boosted towards max. Doesn't help me out. Let's just give this a try. Psychological operations and turns enemies to your side or transform them. Mind games are powerful. So the red guy took control. So it beat me again. So I got a mech hero or a slime king. It says he deployed an alien mother. I'm taking this as a hologram. Because there's no way that I got my mech down and he put out an alien mother. Yep. So the one thing that I kind of see is delayed is the log window here, whereas the action on the board happens, but it doesn't instantly say it in like the window here. So I'd like to see like that happens, it instantly shows up instead of being delayed. All right. Let's... just deploy that right off the bat. Push the mech. Deploy the mentalist. So we're at a 0-0 still. Got 70% to get out my slime trooper. Oh, I don't really want to go towards mechs. Really? 7% failed. So... Even with a low an alien. What is this? Even with the probability, it's too low to try and get that guy out. So they both deployed fire. Blue hit purple. Come on. Burned away the fire. So the spider destroyed a unit in its path. Fire kills anything it touches. Unlike alien ooze, it leaves a corpse. Oh, okay. So fire doesn't let you resurrect a unit. Let's just try to keep buffing my commander then. We'll hit this glider. It shifted to max, so the tank is real then. That larva's a beam. Oh, you're kidding me. Oh no, he hit, no, he did hit me. I thought he hit the rover. Alright. So let's try this again. You know what, let's instantly get out and ooze. A tentacle, a tank. I want to control the center of the board, or at least try to. Alright, let's deploy. He's hitting the glide. So one thing I don't like is at the bottom there that it shows just the commander pictures, whereas I'd rather like to see what is attacking. So like if me and my glider were like, if the glider was with the red commander, it would show that my commander is in that bottom part, which is attacking, and then instead of showing like the red commander on the other side, it would show the red glider is what's being hit. Because every time I see an attack going off and it just shows like green's attacking red, it doesn't really give you any clarity of what's going on. So for that instance, it could be like, oh, I think the commander is attacking the other commander, to whereas the commander would be attacking the glider. So just having that different image to show what's happening, so I don't have to wait for like this log screen to say what happened, or like see it happen, like, oh, the glider lost and it's now dead. They're going at each other. I'm gonna pull you back to there, pull you up to there. Alright. We have... I would really like to get this guy out. Oh, so it's an instant teleport that has a chance for it to activate. So now that I'm in this situation, we're gonna buff. So my EMP shield. Okay, that went through. So I'm gonna be getting pinched here. So I want to keep him there and not let him move forward. What's Parasite do? So that doesn't help me. That doesn't come in. Let's go for the mecha boost to try and get my big boy out next turn. Yeah, so he killed him, that's fine. They're going after the slime. That gives me some time. So this could spread anywhere. So we're gonna try and get this guy out. Come on, go through. Go through. Yes, it did. Now I need to move this guy back. And I don't want to move him in case... Yep. We're gonna give myself... That failed. One-shot attacks, they don't create a unit, they deal damage directly to the target. He keeps failing. Alright, we killed his commander. I want to do a resurrection. I can't. Dang it. So I missed that then. Alright, we'll just attack this because that's the only thing I can do here. Attack that because I can. That failed. And I'm down on my resurrect. We'll hit my fusion. He put up the shield. Commander missed. Oh, come on. No way that should have failed. Put on the arrow pack. So he took the energy saver. Alright, so he did a ranged attack and then a melee. Alright, so that oozes down. Let's try and be cheeky here. He put that, so that is not real. Well, intern there. That fails. So I killed him in melee. Now I get range. Alright, and it ends up landing. Alright, so I beat the tutorial. Alright, now we'll leave. Alright, so the tutorial is not bad. Let's look at settings. Actually, we don't want to do single player. Go with 3 opponents. Oh, I didn't get the first one. That's fine. Alright, so now to look at everything with them being smart. I am the blue. And I go first. So we got 2 mechs, 2 alien, 3. So if I go first, I want to try and get this die. 50-50 shot. Failed. So we're looking at a +1 to max. So I want the actions. So they deployed Quad Scout and a Mentalist. So the Quad Scout would get 4. Mentalist would give 7. No. That over. So Overlord, Mentalist. No, they both give 7. They're neutral units. Here is the max. It is leaning towards 1. I'm guessing this Mentalist isn't real. This would be a +4. Humanoid would be +4, which would give it a 0. Mentalist would... Technically, we should still be at neutral. I'm guessing this guy's fake, this guy's real. Humanoid. So one thing that I would like to see is instead of having this arrow box and moving it one at a time, it would give like the boxes of like when it would show, like it would bring up an ability that like this is the range that you could deploy this in. So like particle blaster, oh it doesn't yeah, I can't bring it up, but it would just give you a range. So instead of having to click each time, it would do it so you could do it movement in one click instead. Right now, I want to look at buffing my commander. Of course, he gets it there. Alright. It's not bad. Let's look at the store. So, I guess another thing is, even without signing in, I'd like to see that you can buy stuff. So let's. One moment. Where? So, success, you're signed in. Alright, let's give this a refresh. Is the sign in not working? Alright, so one thing, I went to link my account, which I just went with the email, and that is not currently working. So I got the email, I pressed the email link, just to give you an idea. So, let's do this one more time. All right, I did that. So visit the link. You're now signed, so closing the window and returning to the game. Give it a refresh. And it doesn't give a so it doesn't show that I'm signed in. So that looks to be a bit of a bug. Right. Not what I wanted to do. So all in all, pretty good. Let's just go back to, because I would have really liked to try and look at what it was for buying. Because I know when it says, right here, wait a minute. So go to the store. It says sign in to buy premium actions, in which I have the 500 right here that I can use. But I can't buy anything, so I can't test out the store to really give you my opinion on how your store looks. So that's a bit of a letdown. I would have liked to try and bring some stuff into another game. But let's get on to reviewing that. All right, and I am at hour 20. All right. So for my review, let's look at the criteria. All right, so learning by playing section. Did you learn how to play the game easily? Were you confused about anything? All right, just go back to this. So, down. I want to see, does it bring? No, it doesn't bring back up the box. All right, so I did learn learn by playing. Uh, what what would be so? I was kind of talking as I was going through this when I first went through all three of the missions. So your tutorial gave a good overview. It wasn't complicated and it wasn't like too dumbed down like, okay, I just do this and then it 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 held your hand as you went through it. Uh, I took longer than probably what somebody else would. So you could probably get through all three of these games in 15 to 20 minutes, is what I would expect. So I would say that the tutorial is pretty good. Are there any downsides to it? I can't really think of any downsides to your current to the current tutorial games. One thing that I would say about your tutorial is I'm going back into this, trying to just look at it, bring it back up, but the boxes aren't coming back in like, hey, this it's not one for one of how the tutorial played, which is what I expect here. So just like when I played through the first time, the pop-up boxes came into play, you know, do this, that, this is what this does. That's what expected when I came back into trying to do this again. So the tutorial's good, but you need to have it just as if you were playing it for the very first time, or else what is the point in reselecting these training missions but not having the pop-ups going back through it? So I know that the very first mission was just the simple basics. Um, I already forgot exactly what this one was about. Like, of course, since I played Mission 3, like I know this one was all about like buffing your commander and how to make them stronger. Uh, what was it? 2 was I had multiple co commanders to play against. Then 1 was just solo. So, uh, for the tutorial mission, I learned as I played, and it gave me a good understanding of what the game was, how to play it, and what to expect. But where it lacks now is anyone that wants to come back. Like, didn't, I think I lost in what was it, 3 playthroughs each time, and I was given the choice to just go to the next one, which I ended up completing these ones, which it has the check marks. Like this first mission, I didn't technically complete it, even though I was able to proceed to the next one. So I would expect that these are one for one, as if I first opened up the game and went through it with the pop-up boxes. So how experienced I with this genre? So I came in with the description of this was it's a chess and poker elements combined. So I knew how I know how to play chess. I know how how to play poker. And what really interested me is like how is this game going to play out with these aspects combined? So for the poker side, what I see of it is that you can either have the chance of deploying a unit, not always 100%. So you have the chance of it could work, it couldn't work. So that's what I guess I would say is like, what is your poker aspect like? You have the chance of this hand working, you have the chance of it not. You also have the other chance of you can deploy holographic units, which is your bluffs. So that's where I also kind of see the poker aspect of how you're kind of fusing this game so with the concept of it combined. Now, on the other side, you have like the chess. So you have your pawns and then your bishops, knights, and rooks. And then, of course, you have your king and queen. So, where I see the aspect of that genre is you have your weaker pieces that you can play, and then you have your gradually stronger pieces that you can play. So, the genre of this, it's kind of hairy. Whereas for the chess aspect, but I understand kind of what you may be thinking, saying this is like a combination of those two. So for the genres of this and experience, I'm casually. Graphics, honestly, I love like the feel, the look of all of your graphics. Um, like this main screen, it's it's for like the types of games now, I wouldn't equate graphics to this as like they're retro, in which I like the look of it. I wouldn't really say they're pixel like they're the pixel art graphics, but in some of the other aspects you have in this, like the board pieces and whatnot, I see the kind of pixel art aspect. But graphics, I love how it looks. You've even got a bit of animation to them, which is really nice. The board pieces aren't just like a static image. They have their own little movement and kind of like unique to each thing, so that's super nice. My input key was keyboard and mouse. The audio is super loud. Uh, I have my current world settings down to about 10%. Here, take this off. So I have the sound and my global settings down to at 10% because when I first popped into the game, it instantly put me into the tutorial side of it. It didn't have me come into the game screen and then say, hey, I want to go through the tutorial first instead of, hey, I just want to play and figure this out myself. So for the audio, it definitely needs to be lowered right off the bat. Even down at 10%, I keep my headphones at about 60%. And when I first loaded in, it was super loud. So if you could just automatically have it lowered to like at least 50%, that would be great. The music, it's good background music. Your sound effects of stuff happening is a nice touch. You know, it's not like super great or like extravagant. Um, there's nothing that really pops out to me like, hey, I wasn't expecting this, but it was nice to see like there is some sound reaction to something happening. So the audio, I would give, say a four, 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 for you. Um, I don't really remember any voice acting. So played it competitive. So if I didn't play it competitively. So that's obviously out there. Um, controls, mouse and keyboard. You can obviously click on things and whatnot. Whoops, cancel game. Not what I wanted. Uh, so even on the little UI, you got a bit of sound going on there. Um, so, ah, so controls, simple. The UI is it's obvious. It's not like off to the side, unnoticeable, so that's fine. Uh, settings, there's nothing really to change. So for controls and responsiveness, I'd give you 5 stars. It reacted how I expected. There's nothing that I could really find that would say like a, something is lacking. Um, say there's no arrow keys, no WAS. That's fine. Didn't expect it. It's a browser game. You mainly would use your mouse. So that all looks good. So the activities during my session. So I did this tutorial, the onboarding. There's no really there's no like main. No, there's not. So there's no story campaign or what I'm gonna have. So I did combat and fighting. Obviously, I did planning and strategic decisions. I didn't do competitive. No crap and trading. So and trying to understand what to do. All right, so that fills out that section. Straightforward. Would you recommend this game? Yes, I would. So I would recommend it to people who enjoy the genre. So the current issue with this though is like um so your description has it as a chess poker aspects like it's not one or the other. When I really thought of when I saw the description of chess and poker combined, I'm like, oh, okay, there's going to be aspects of each. So what I was thinking for in the like chess side, like, all right, there's going to be like movement restrictions of the pieces. So you then of course, so like the movement restrictions, like certain pieces would able to move like certain ways only. And then the other chess aspect of it was, of course, the unit composition. Like as I said before, like pawns, bishops, rooks, etc. Like so, you would have certain pieces that are stronger and being able to move certain ways because of like how they would act inside the game, depending on strength or whatnot. So I expected that like of didn't expect a rigid structure like chess is, but I expected it to be aspects. So I didn't find the movement aspect like I was expecting, but you did have the weak the you have like weaker units to like really strong units, which what I did expect. The upgrades were a nice touch. You obviously have to have kind of like that baked into the game to really help uh the strategy and play styles of people that would come into this. The poker aspect, uh, that's a bit harder. Like I understand, like there's the bluffing, bringing down a hologram unit and whatnot, and then of course you have the probability of will this work or will it not work. So when you have the stated genre of chess and poker, I think you need to re-look at that aspect of how you really want to define the game. Because chess, you could have chess in there, and it would be acceptable. But the poker aspect, I really don't see it. So like if you were to drop this on Steam and be like chess and poker to try and get people that love those genres to come in and play this, I could see the chess people coming in and playing it and being like, okay, this is kind of what I expected, but like the poker aspect of it, I don't see that genre trying to really help you. Um, I know that when I was going through, like, it gave me different cards to use for that game. So I see the poker aspect there as well, but um, for how it's currently laid out, I wouldn't really say that your poker genre that is you state is quite there or relevant enough to really put it in as like it's this S kind of game. Maybe if when you were going through the start of the game, like you drafted cards, like So you would have like you what is that? There's like 50 odd things that you can do, and of course your store you can buy cards. So like I could see it if in like a multiplayer, like there were X amount of cards at the beginning of the game, and you drew cards to choose from. Like, hey, I have I've drawn this lot that I can choose from to use, and then after that point, you go in like you get to pick X amount of cards that you want to go in and use for the actual game out of however many that like you drew to kind of more bake in like the poker aspect. What version of poker is it that where you you draw cards and then you discard and draw more and then use it? Regardless, like I could see that aspect kind of maybe more catering towards the poker side of it to for you to really say like this is a game that's similar to chess and like a version of poker. But so for that aspect, like yeah, like I would recommend like, hey, I want a strategy game that's kind of like chess and has poker aspects. Like yeah, I'd recommend that to someone. All right, moving on. How clear during your first 10 minutes? Um, I spent doing the tutorial, and your tutorial was clear of what was expected and how things were gonna play out when you did stuff. So 5 stars for that. Um, I'll give my overall impressions at the end of this. All right, how hard was it to understand at the start? Uh, this wasn't like the first game how this play, or excuse me, this wasn't a game that like this was the first time that I came across like this kind of play style. So the hardest thing to understand. So the first option is where to go. That was super simple. What was my objectives? The tutorial was pretty clear in what I needed to do. The combat, so the combat controls, those were super easy. I had to move the spots and be in a 1 square proximity, or I had certain range on a piece, so that was fine. The UI and menus were fine. The inventory and items. Now that's all right. So this is obviously the inventory and with all the items. So the let's see. Well, let's come back to that because let's keep going. So there's no quest system, character stats and abilities. So obviously I've played these games. Like I understand melee. I know what a mount is. Uh, these first three symbols, were super easy to understand. This last one was it took a little bit to figure out what this was and how it affected gameplay. So that was a bit confusing and took me a bit to learn. Um, so the hardest thing to understand, I would have to say, would be the character stats and abilities. And this is really just to the point, whereas the tutorial kind of didn't clearly. So the tutorial didn't bring up like this square pop out. So like this is your character card and so it did say like hey, these are melee, this is mounts and whatnot. But if I had to go through and just by looking at like what this card is, because when I first popped in, it didn't really explain what the card was and everything on it. It eventually got to it, but it didn't like first bring over like the first thing that I would have expected from the tutorial at level 1 was the first thing that it would have told me about was these cards. And the first thing to bring up would have been like, hey, like it it eventually did do this, but a little bit more explaining would be nice. So of course it shows you like, hey, this is your movement. It has a sword. Like, okay, that's melee. Like this truck, it means it's a mount. So the one thing that I dislike about the stats and abilities is that on this card there's nowhere on this card without clicking into it that tells you what is its attack and its defense. Like I can understand not having this swing modifier represented on the card, but not having this the attack and defense that I would usually be used to seeing in games similar to this to at a quick glance to tell me that this monster its melee and its melee attributes are attack of 1 and defense of 3. For like your overlord, like its range, it has a so for this aspect it would have a range strength of 1 and an attack range of 2. The thing that surprised me though was with the melee characters, it could go into with range characters, it could go into melee combat. Um, the other thing was if you look at some of your ranged characters, they're far weaker in range compared to their melee attributes. So with this being a ranged character, I would think of this being super strong in range but weak in melee. Like you want to keep this unit at its maximum range in order for you to get the most out of it, because usually once you get a ranged character into melee, so if I'm a ranged character and a melee character comes up and pops me, 9 times out of 10 the ranged character dies. But with the strong stats here, like I I really don't see this as a ranged character. I see him more as a melee who's able to attack at range. To where you have this saying like, oh, this is a range character. So I would think like this guy is range, that's how I want to play him. But then you go and look at its stats and it's actually super it's more suited for melee than it is for ranged. Now obviously you have your your straight melee characters who are even stronger, but if I was thinking of a range character, I would think this would be stronger at ranged but not at melee. Um so moving on. So the tutorial onboarding slash feel, it was all right. There was a lot to explain about uh, about the game to bring in a new player and get them to be able to be up and running, even against bots. So I wouldn't say it's slow, but it's also not like super fast. So you're right in that middle part. You got a lot that you need to teach a player. So your feel of your onboarding and tutorial, I'd say that's fine. Um, where did the game start to feel interesting? That really came into play at about the third tutorial mission when you brought in the commander augments for buffing your commander and what it can all do. The fire or the ooze, being able to place those out and having it automatically spread. Uh, so that's the point that it really got interesting to me. Like this isn't just a 1v4 of melee and ranged. Like with AI, like okay, purple's hitting blue, so I want to go and hit red. And then so I kill red, and then whoever makes it out in purple and blue, then I go and attack them. And so instead, with the commander buffs, and then of course you have the like you can put units down as holograms to kind of give a deception tactics, uh, buffing your commander to try and uh, out ability the other commander. Like that's real. That's where it's really started to get interesting. And of course, I haven't looked at all of the cards or seen what everything does to kind of get or formulate a real strategy to move into this to try and figure like how would I want to play multiplayer or how I see another player is going and like how to counter them. The the real ability here, especially after someone would get heavier into playing some games, unlocking more cards to be able to use, it expands that even more, which really makes this interesting. Um, First frustration. This would have to go back to the unit cards and as I said before, not knowing the attack and defense. And of course, with some of these cards having so much, like I know your card here would get kind of overloaded with with everything because right now these cards look clean. So it's an annoyance. It's not that big of a deal to have to click on a card and then go in and figure out like, hey, what is this? So that's not that big of a deal. But that was my first annoyance. Um, but the thing that really got me was when they would have a unit sitting on the board and I would want to go and click on that unit, but I can't bring up like the stats or nothing. So if you would fix that to whereas you can click on, let's say, a commander and it brings up like, hey, this is its strength, or this is its attack, this is its defense. If it had the upgrade ability that it got ranged, like it would show like, hey, it has this range now. Um, but that's the second thing that I found frustrating that I would really like to see somehow better incorporated. Because sitting here as playing this game for the first time, not being able to look at an enemy unit, uh, to be able to really say, like, will my 3/3 mentalist be able to go and attack this unit effectively. All right. So the biggest obstacle, um, well, we got don't know where to go or what to do. Controls weren't explained. Too much information at once. Intro tutorial drag. Difficulty spike too early. Um, so I really didn't mind the information. You gradually built up to everything, so that was fine. The controls on mouse and keyboard, those are fine. It's you're just using your mouse and clicking. The amount of information fine. Tutorials fine. So the first obstacle would have been in mission 3 of the tutorial that was heavily focused on the commander abilities. It took me 3 or 4 rounds of that to finally win. So I would say, so the difficulty didn't really spike too early, but it spiked there at the end to whereas the first 2 missions were kind of straightforward, and then the difficulty spiked at the end to buff up your commander and then win that round. So it's not that it spiked too early, but the spike at the end of the tutorial was that first obstacle really that I encountered. The satisfying from the moment to moment gameplay. Um, I would say that's a 5. So I ended up just advancing from the first mission. I really didn't quite understand your game yet. But then the second and third tutorial mission left me with, oh, okay, this is nice. This is how it's supposed to feel. This is how it's supposed to do. So that was pretty good. So the pacing. I would say the pacing is about right. Um, Obviously, in this, you have your set cards right off the bat. You have your store, so you play the game. Uh, what is it? Main menu, store. Uh, how to get credits? Okay, right here. So of course you have your welcome bonus, your learning, then your onboarding. So your first, so it didn't work for me because my sign-in options, be able to get into the store and look at that, didn't work. But the understanding behind it of you play a game, so you finish the match, you get 20 credits. If you win, you get 100. Of course, you outrank and so on and so forth. You steadily get credits to be able to buy cards to be able to get more powerful cards. Then of course you have if someone just wants to be a chat and buy a bunch of credits and support you a bit. So pacing of this, I would say, is on point. Um, of course, you have a bit of pay to win. They can instantly get credits, get stronger cards to be able to play with. But from a casual standpoint, to whereas just playing a match, doing these things, will steadily get you credits to be able to buy stuff. So I would say the pacing of what I expect this to be, since I couldn't exactly come into it because I couldn't get the account to work to be able to do this, I would say it's there. And it feels about right. The difficulty. Um, this really comes down to not being able to see what the attack power and defensive units on the enemy team are. So you obviously have it that we'll just go to tutorial 3. So you can come in here and under this tab, so you can go in and look at like, okay, this was the guy that looks like it's on the board. So it has like a 5-6 and a 3-3. So it made it more difficult for me because I had to go and look at a couple times like, hey, what is this unit's strengths and weaknesses and such forth. Whereas if I was on here, like I could say, okay, this is what it is. Like, all right, that's what my guy is. Because of course I would put the unit down and I would forget like, hey, what is this guy actual stats? To where if I wouldn't be able to see it on the enemy side. So the difficulty is a bit too hard right now because of that. Of course, if you have someone playing this for a good amount of time, couple days, you'll start to learn the exact units and what they're capable of. But for someone just coming into this and not being able to instantly look at that and go and search for it, it's a bit too hard. The replay ability is it's many hours to indefinitely depending on the person's tolerance for this type of game. Like I could be like, all right, let's jump on and play like a 1 or 2 games for a half hour. Or if I get really bored, like, hey, let's go in the multiplayer and like grind ranked. Like I could see that. Grind ranked, increase credits, get more get more units to be able to play. So the replayability is, I'd say, damn near perfect. Um, so what describes the build's polish? Um, Felt like a rough MVP, rough but promising, workable, just needs more content, felt polished, felt completely production ready. Uh, so I couldn't really say like this is production ready. If this game was on Steam, I would say like this is your early access phase. Uh, for everything you have here, I wouldn't really say like, hey, this is just a demo. This game is ready to play in its current state, and of course, with updates happening however often, it's I'd say it's in that early access stage. Not quite yes yet 1.0, which is why I say early access, but it's not to the point to like, this is a demo. This is a game that I've been working on for 3 to 4 months, and I want people to play this, bug finding. Of course, there's probably bugs in here. Uh, but it's to a point to whereas you could give this to people and it would be acceptable. You're of course you're missing some things. You maybe want to put more stuff in, you haven't gotten time to. So it is, I would say, workable, just needs some more content. Now, depending on what you want to do or how this moves, will depend on what that content will be, but it's right now solid. So if it stopped being fun, so too repetitive, not clear goals, progress felt unrewarding, pacing went flat, hit a difficulty wall. Never stopped being fun. So at this point, after just playing, I would say I'm picking that the pacing. No, it didn't go flat. So it's not so the game is repetitive, but I expect that out of a game like this. Um, the goals are obviously you have how your store is set up. So you want to win, defeat units to get credits, be able to pot, to be able to buy more cards and whatnot. So I wouldn't say that progress felt unrewarding. Pacing didn't go flat. The difficulty wall is definitely there right at the beginning here. Since I'm not able to buy cards, I can't really say that it would get easier as you buy more cards because I haven't gotten experience that. So I wouldn't. I would put this as it never really stopped being fun. Uh, so at this point, it's hard to answer this question. I haven't played enough, but to really give you a good answer. So at this point, I'm just gonna put that it never stopped being fun because I haven't hit any of the other ones with one caveat of the difficulty wall. It is definitely there and will take a bit of grinding to probably uh, be able to hit that to hit its stride after you buy cards and whatnot. But again, I can't really look at that aspect to really definitively put that down. So right now, as I said, it's just didn't stop being fun. Um, so the strategy decisions. This definitely plays into a fact of it is I'd say deep. Uh, so the biggest issue that I have in this aspect is your what's it called? I forget what you call it, but of course, so my biggest gripe about this is turn one. So turn one, I have a limited amount of cards. And this is just coming from what I saw that at turn one, I could have a 70% chance to put down this slime trooper. But depending on the where you're laid out in the turn structure, that 70% could drop from depending on what other people played. So instead of having this adjusted after each player turn, I would like to see it as after each round. So like these percentages are locked in for this round. Like if I wanted to try and put out this mech on turn one, it would be a flat. This round you have a 20% chance to put this mech out. Um, like no matter what the other people play to swing this modifier, this is what it is. Then of course for round two, depending on what everybody was able to get onto the board, and let's say this is at a +2 to the aliens. Now my alien trooper would move up in percentage to get him onto the board, and then my mech guy would maybe go down like 15. So for that round, so for round two, Like, okay, I would have a 15% chance, or I would have like a 75% chance to get this guy down. Um, there's so much variables in doing something, minus your hollow scan, that will always work. But to then put on top of it, to if I was player four and I wanted to put down a mech, but players one through three all went aliens to swing this to the plus side for aliens. I really don't like that aspect, which is why I was saying for like each round it'd be calculated. So for round one, whatever uh your chances to get it down, that's what it is. Everybody gets whatever they want down, or they fail to do it because of the chance that it has to failing. So, round one is a flat chance, or it is the shown chance. And then once round two hits, the modifier is calculated and these are adjusted. Again, being if I was in like place four, so like okay, let's say it's the opposite side. Everybody kind of went neutral or whatnot. Maybe the modifier was at like a plus one. You would have the chance to swing it back. Like okay, it's a plus one to alien, so that puts up their turn. But then the mechs would then have the chance to kind of swing it back. So instead of a variable rate that changes this, it's a round modifier that gives positive or negative to that round. All right, so moving on to the next one. How clear were the win-loss conditions? Perfectly clear, 5 stars. You want to be the last man standing. How was the AI opponent's quality? Um, this the so I played one on dumb. I played one on smart. I got my ass handed to me on smart. Dumb, I did fine. Um, I'll do like 5 stars for that. You don't really have a good AI difficulty be able to play through. You know, it's either dumb or smart right now. So that's hard to really say. So quality, I'll give you a 4. Late game pacing. Um, this more this more came into content on the tutorial mission 3. So one thing that I dislike is that once you use a card, if you fail, it's gone. So it's the the pacing kind of came stagnant right at the end there. Um, One thing that I would say would make up for it is that, let's say on turn one, I put down my Archon mech. Or, well, I tried to, and it failed. And then, of course, the rest of the game, um, I had, then you would lose that for the rest of the game. To whereas, I would like to see certain cards, especially units, to as if they fail to go down, that they're kind of put on cooldown. You can't use them for a couple rounds, but then you can try again. So I could really see a stalemate and somebody trying to get down troops and they fail because the modifier swings in a negative way for that type of unit, and then you're kind of screwed and just have your other abilities that you can go on. Even with the even even if the modifier is swung towards the alien side, having the 70% chance still failing is detrimental. Now, I get it, these are stronger troops, but having it fail and then not being able to use it again after that or have a chance to try putting it onto the board again kind of makes the late game pacing fall off. So I would say it's too slow or drags. Uh, Actually, I'm gonna put it to chaotic, and I'm putting it to chaotic for the aspect because of if your unit fails, you lose it. It's not that you can try it again. So if my whole strategy on a deck was to go straight aliens, but I get completely smashed and not able to get stuff out, compared to another game, I get super lucky on rolls and get everything out. That's why I would say it's chaos in this current build because there's no mechanic to whereas like a failed unit can go on cooldown and then you can try to bring it out again. Now the other aspects of like the commander upgrades or like the resurrect kind of fall into the same boat. But whereas in the aspect of the commander upgrades, like I kind of wanted to see them at like a 50-50 and they don't change. Or like the resurrection. Like like the resurrection, I could see it being like it's 100% chance and you can only use it once to resurrect something. Or it could be like it's a 75% chance to resurrect and then it goes on cooldown. To it's it's a bit too much RNG to really say the pacing is on point. See, then you have your like abilities here. Like you have it at it's 100% chance. You'll always hit these. So if I get one of my troops down and everything else fails, my resurrection fails. I can't resurrect something. Um, with the boost here, same thing. So if I'm heavily geared towards one thing and the other players went the opposite, it screws you over. And even with some of these being, let's see, even if these two, like 70 and 60%, like this is, unless it's like a 90% chance, like this is low in my opinion. And you still get screwed out of trying to put this down and it failing. And then you're not able to get a decent amount of units out there. So it's a bit chaotic. It is how I'm seeing it. On to the next one. How was the economy resource complexity? So you didn't touch on this on the tutorial. It's found in your store. Oh, not that. Main menu. Store. So credits. So you have your straight infusion, going through your tutorial, getting all of that. Did I? So what? So 550, and I'm at 5. So I didn't quite get it all. But the economy, I'd say it's there and it's good. I can't really say if it's too much or too little because I'm not able to test that aspect currently. But the economy I'm going to put as about right. It looks good. Depending on card cost, that might change, but it looks good to me as what I can see right now. How easy were these systems to understand? Your tutorial did a good job of explaining them and what to do, so I'll give you 5 stars there. All right, so if you use these systems, what's confusing, tedious, or promising? So your store system, it's promising. More testing to iron these out are probably needed once you get a solid player base. All right. So understanding the this modifier up here, it's a bit on the iffy side. So I know that if it swings one way, you get a certain boost depending on what it is. If it swings the other way, you get it there. But how it effectively does it. So the part that's confusing about this is if I go turn 1 with a mecha boost and it gets off, how much that affects later on depending on what it lands on, it's a bit confusing. Uh, a bit more play testing and I could probably figure out it to a T, but right at this point coming into it, that is a bit confusing. Uh, the your system for beaming it to compare to 100% holograms, that's perfectly clear. Your tutorial went through that and explained it fine. You eventually got to this, which is okay. So this modifies it. That becomes understandable. Melee, mounts, flying. That's all understandable. Your movement system. Come on, get to it. So, one thing that I don't like, so obviously you're going through your turn order. So, what I would like to see when I clicked deploy on that initial screen, and it brought this up, like, okay, will be able to deploy it there. In this turn, kind of to speed it up, as instead of it going after each player on their, what is it, the first phase, I forget what you call it. I would like to see that it when you deploy a unit, you click either deploy or beam, and then in that aspect, to finish the turn, you click to where you want it to be deployed. Then when you move into round 2, to whereas it does the chance of things, everything just gets put down at once. That's just the speed aspect for me. To sit here and be like, all right, blue is deploying this. Okay, it failed. Purple is trying to deploy this. All right, it went through. Me deployed this. All right, it failed. Just having to sit there and wait through that 6 to 8 second, depending on how many players you have, I don't really see it as needed. Whereas you could do it all at once, to where it happens and everyone sees like, all right, it succeeded or it failed. All right, then move on to your move turn. So what I don't like about this system is that you have just the arrows here. So I don't understand why it's different for your flying units compared to your on foot units. So flying, it gives you the option to whereas you could just click and go here. So obviously this would be what, 1, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5, then 4. So no matter where I click on this board, like, all right, I click it there. Now my circle has diminished because of how many movement points I have left. Go up again. It diminishes again. Whereas if I was back here right at the first and I instantly just clicked here and it did it all in one turn. Now your ground units, obviously the commander, it only has one movement, so it's not great to really show it. But you're like this guy. Don't hit my guy. So, but if it was a ground unit that was moving, so it had what, 4? Yeah, 4. So I would expect that the ground units would have the same kind of UI as the flying units. So for your commander, all blocks around it would be lit up and you click one and you could go the max distance. If say the commander had two movement base, all of the blocks within that movement base would light up. You would click the spot at the maximum point and it would just automatically move there. Instead of right now, you have it where you click each spot and you have to keep clicking. And it's a bit repetitive. And I would expect that, but like the flying movements where you could do it all just in one click, you want to go here, boom, it's done. Whereas melee, ground units, you have to keep clicking instead. Other mechanics. So the percentage to get it done, that's fine. How it's kind of manipulated, it's fine. Let's see what else. That's really it that I have for the mechanics. So the movement is a bit tedious. The modifier gets up here is a bit confusing at this point. Anything that's, I would say, is promising. Nothing that I can really say right now. The other thing that is a bit tedious is using a card, it fails, and then you're not able to try and place it a couple turns later. That is completely gone. I just see it as it could completely screw me over in a competitive match due to RNG from it being able to be placed down on top of the RNG that the modifiers up here that other people can use to swing in a different way, and it just screws me over because I would be trying to go something else. Alright, next. How clear and readable was the interface wall? Perfect. I'd give you 5 stars. Which UI area caused the most trouble? HUD, quest log, inventory, character, map, skills, chat, settings. I don't really see any major issues here. So anything that really caused me trouble. So one UI that I would like to see. So cancel out of that. So if I come up here and hover this, like you have these like pop out, which are super nice. But the other thing that I would like to see done is like when you click on it, like some aspect of these stats also pop up. To whereas if it's like somewhere on the card or maybe on the left side here, you put up like a little pop out box like, hey, this has 6 attack and 7 defense. So whereas someone doesn't have to click on this just to figure just to see like, oh, this is what it does. All right, I want to go with fire instead. Same thing for up here, having a pop out that would tell your players this is the current probability that it gives you. So right now, like say let's say this gives you plus 5% for each 1 point. So this would be plus 15% towards max. And then all right, I would look at the max. All right, this got plus 15%. It's usually at 60. Just subtle details that better help a player look at stuff and say, all right, why is this figure at what it is right now with this? All right. So the UI mostly felt about right. Say at this point in the game, it looks good. Of course, you have your boxes here, down on top, and then of course your inventory screen. It looks fine. How easy was it to notice the important feedback such as damage, status, quest, updates, reward? All right. So this so this I'm going to give you a 3 stars. And it is for the fact of the battle screen that pops up. Can I get him out there? Right, let's just put him as a hollow. All right, I want you to attack this guy. Come on. So what I was looking at through this tutorial is when these attacked, so it shows them attacking and then it shows the commanders. So I kind of see that as like repetitive. So in your attack screen, it already shows like this is blue, this is purple. So why on bottom is there the commander showing the why is it the commanders on bottom that show up? This is just a preference for me because I would look at an attack screen depending on how fast it went. Like I wouldn't see what's attacking what, but I would see the commanders at the bottom. So some of the time I would see and think, here, let's go this. So like right here, like this is what I would expect to see on the bottom the attack screen. My red ooze is attacking this hover, the transport mech. So down here it is where I would expect to see that. And of course you have your little animation up top. And the reason for that is because I would see something attacking. Let's say this was ranged. I would see the animation but couldn't distinguish what was in that animation, and I would look at bottom like, oh, the commander's attacking my commander, and I lost. And then I expected to lose because I lost thinking that it was my commander that was being attacked, but it was actually attacking my guy here. Not a big deal, but at a glance, if I'm not, it's not that I wasn't paying attention, that I would look at the screen and everything's in close enough proximity that I couldn't immediately tell what he was like attacking, because the logbook here comes in after the attack ends. And of course you have the animation that you have here of it dies. So like I could see here like, oh, it attacked this guy and I lost, but I thought it was attacking my commander because it was in close enough proximity that could have been the attack, and thinking like, oh, I could have lost. I'd lost the game there. But in actuality it was my little minion here that got attacked and lost. So that aspect. So damage, don't have bit status, queue updates, reward 20. So it's really on that aspect. Well, I'll give you a 4 instead of a 3. Because your damage, you really don't have like numbers. It's not like the opponents get whittled down. It's all or nothing. You win or lose. So damage isn't really status. Understandable. So yeah, just in that aspect is why I give you 4 stars instead of 5. How stale did it feel? I'd say 5 stars. I haven't ran into nothing. What issues did I encounter? FPS performance, lag, desync, long loading, audio, animation, bugs, quest blockers, disconnects, crashes. So I did not experience anything in that section. The only issue that I did encounter, so it's in the moving aspect. So your tutorial showed that if you move horizontal or vertically, that it uses 1 point of movement. If you move diagonally, it uses 1.5. So I'm not sure if this is how you meant it or if this is a bug, but if my commander has 1 unit of movement, which it does, because your commander can only move the 1 square each turn, I technically shouldn't be able to move diagonally because it costs 1.5 movement points, and I only have 1 point of movement, but I can still move diagonally as I just did. So that's either a bug or coded improperly for the information that I have right now. How much did technical issues impact your experience? None. I didn't run in, actually slightly. The signing in, as I stated before. So go to the store, it says the link account. I put in my email, hit continue. I brought up the email. I clicked on the link. It says, okay, you're signed in. And close out of this and you'll be signed in. It didn't happen here. I re-go to this and I'm not linked. So something's up with this. You might have it set more towards phones right now, and it probably works fine. I did not test it being on my phone, but being straight web-based in a browser, this is not working correctly. That is it. I have my overall impression. So I find this interesting. The graphics look great. Small technical issues that I've ran into, maybe the bug for movement. But other than that, like everything looks great. Your tutorial was thorough. I understood what it wanted me to do and after I did it, what I expected to happen. Um, shoot, I've been talking for too long. Uh, my overall impression of this is good. I would recommend this to someone that is looking for this kind of game. It's a real-time strategy game is where I really see this being as. It has the aspects of chess, of strong and weak pieces. It has the aspects of poker, whereas you can bluff. You have the chance of bringing in something that either works or doesn't. Uh, the bit of improvement that I would like to see as if a unit, so if any of the, hold on, so one thing that I'm disappointed in is any of the units at like the mechs, the aliens, or like the neutral ones. I would like to see this get a cooldown and then be able to use again if they fail to deploy. Now, if you put them on the board as a hologram, then this wouldn't apply. So, if let's say you have your alien mother. So if I put this down turn 1 and failed, I would like to see like a cooldown. Like, oh, you have 6 turns until you can try to put this down again, and then it goes away. If my larva brood gets, if I put this down on turn 1 and it fails, like, okay, in two more turns you can try and put this down again. If it fails, then you have 1 more turn to try and put it down, and then after that you can't do it again. So depending on strength of the unit, I would like this to be redone. Now I understand that you have the mechanic of you can put it down as a hologram. So in that aspect, if you put something down and it fails and it goes on cooldown, you would lose the ability to put it down as a hologram. So that way it kind of balances it out there. And on the other aspect of these abilities, like once and done. Like you try and use it and it succeeds or fails just like it currently is. Like I see that being completely fine. Uh, Music, bit loud, but it's good for background noise. One thing that I would like to make sure is if you have any music that's in copyright, so if anybody's streaming and puts up a VOD later, it doesn't come back and get copyright claimed and become a nuisance for people. Like that's one thing that I would like to make sure that you have ironed out. To whereas if you have something that's copyrighted, that you're not that you can exclude that track and won't give someone problems down the road. Your art looks great. Little animations are nice. Went over the movement needing a bit of a look at how your gliding units or flying units act differently for movement compared to your grounded ones. Other than that, I think I will cut it here. Otherwise, I thoroughly enjoyed this playtest.